Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. Today we'll be taking a look at the 327th Star Corps Clone Troopers Battle Pack. Now already this is a very controversial set, being a $45 Super Battle Pack, but I'm not going to be talking about everything here, or at least focusing on what most reviews typically do. Displayability, quality of the builds, figures, all that stuff. What I'll be talking about is the distinct lack of play features, or at least the laziness of play features for a $45 set, which is just absurd. And we'll be taking a look at both factions in this set and seeing just how much this set has to offer for play features, and we'll be doing some comparisons to past sets to see just why I believe this set is the worst set for kids or just in general with play features. So without further ado, let's start with the droid side. So looking at the droid side, it's clear that this is kind of underwhelming given the fact that other Super Battle Packs in the past, or at least the one from last year, have provided them with an equal amount to work with compared to the clones. But that doesn't mean I don't like what we got here. Of course, we get more of these Super Battle Droids, which is always great to army build, especially with the new molds. They look fantastic, nothing wrong here. What I want to look at, though, is the redesigned Spider Droid. Let's just take these out of the picture. So this Spider Droid is noticeably different from the older one. The older one uses a ball joint to allow you to move the antennas, so already from the get-go, that's a play feature removed. However, I think with the lack of that in consideration, they actually did refine some of the older play features and actually gave this a bit more posability. For starters, the legs, you might notice, are much longer and use several more connections. This turret can still move, this front cannon can still move up and down. The eyes are locked into place now, but the legs now have more motion. So you can have it like this. It's definitely more posable. It still comes off a bit easy, but it's definitely not nearly as bad as it's assumed to be. And honestly, I like this improvement. It allows for more battle action poses, or you can have it clawing at the air. Again, the hinge connections weren't always that stable on the older ones, so it is really more so designed as a set piece, but I do like that they gave at least a little more flexibility so you could put in like cool poses and whatnot. Have it look like it's walking or charging at someone. And I'll bring the older Spider Droid here for a comparison. So with the new Spider Droid right next to the old one, it's clear to say that this one uses a lot more pieces to create a bulkier, more accurate design. While it does forgo some of the more flexible aspects of the older one with the adjustable eyes and the ball joint, this allows for a sturdier connection for play. This one is kind of easy to pull certain pieces off. And it also has more limiting motion because they only included 2 hinges here for like joint movement and foot movement. While this one includes more because it has to work around a new design, and you get something like this. So clearly they actually took the worst aspects from this and improved them on a new redesign version. And I like the bigger look of this. It definitely looks more intimidating, definitely lends itself better for play with the joints, and it's more sturdy overall. Whereas this one is kind of, it seems a little lackluster for what it is. It's a classic design, no doubt, but I think one of the few things this set got right is improving the older play features from this spider droid and redesigning them on this one so that it looks better overall and can have a bit more playability to it. So I definitely like what they did for the droid faction in this set. But let's move on to the clones, because that's where I have the real issues with. Looking at the clone builds now, it's clear that this is the faction with the bigger build. And I do want to take the time to say, I do like the figures. They aren't as bad as people make them out to be. People like complaining about the helmet holes because they just look weird, but they've been fixing issues with that. Printing quality is now better, and they've included one of the new rangefinder pieces, so it'll stay on. And it honestly looks not too bad on these older clone helmet holes. So it's a nice improvement. But we're not here to talk about the minifigures. Like I said again, they're solid. Our first play feature is one that they've been using in every battle pack, and I think is just quite a lazy build. It's made out of 4 pieces, and it's just a small little stud shooter turret. It's about as simple as you can get, and honestly, I don't like this. It's a lazy excuse for a play feature. What I want to focus on, though, is the brand new AT-RT. Now, this got a complete redesign. It is much smaller, as you can tell by the feet, and more, at least, accurate sizing. It's still a bit bigger, but it definitely fits in the vein of a battle pack build AT-RT, as opposed to the older AT-RTs. Now, here you got a nice seat with a control panel for the pilot, and then clips in the back, of course, as well as a stud shooter on front, which honestly looks weirder than the older one. It definitely does not fit the design, but it does have some movability up and down, and of course the stud shooting firing mechanism. But the main focus of this is the legs. Now, these legs can obviously still pose. It's an AT-RT. It's meant to be a posable set. However, I can't help noticing that this is probably one of the worst AT-RT designs we've gotten in recent years when it comes to posing the legs. Because there are only so many poses you can do to make it look like it's walking without it actually falling over because of how small the feet are. So you can have it in its standard position, like I had it in earlier, or you can have it in a slightly taller stance, kind of leaning over, but you don't really have any good middle ground. It's kind of non-existent. And sure, you can have it look like it's walking like this. That at least looks a little better, but it's definitely not as good as the older AT-RTs. And we'll get into that reason why. Another thing I don't like is that the stud shooter is actually more restrictive than the last AT-RT. It does not have as much movability. It can only go up and down, whereas the past iteration had more adjustable front cannons, and even though it was not as accurate, the play feature at least felt more fleshed out. This just is more so for keeping the design, and look, a little slide and it falls over easily. But let's compare it to the 2020 AT-RT that came in the 1st Legion Battle Pack. So with the older 2020 AT-RT, you can tell this one has a more bulkier design, which is, of course, more inaccurate, as everybody knows. However, when we put these two in their standard positions, this one's had some weakness around the joints, so this is the only pose I can get it in to make it look relatively okay. You can definitely tell that this has more substantial and bigger pieces. But if you notice, the joints are also using a different piece. They use these 4 stud joint pieces to allow for more flexible movement. Look how much motion I can get with this AT-RT to make it look like it's walking into battle. it looks more visually impressive, and the feet allow it to stay up because it can support the body easy. It's not as restrictive. Because of the longer joint on the bottom, it's allowed to put its foot further out. Whereas this one implements this smaller joint piece here, which can only make it go so far. And because of this little clip piece here with this part, it can only go this far, meaning this is as far as you can get the foot to go without moving all the pieces. So you kind of have to do workarounds to get that walking look, and it takes a bit of time to actually get a good walking pose, which it's quite shameful. I mean, look at that compared to something that actually looks like it's very mechanical and looks like it's walking into battle. And let's not even get started on the fact that this stud shooter has connections to a ball joint, allowing it to move left, right, and anywhere, allowing for more dynamic play. And of course, it's the older stud shooter design, but it's definitely it's got more playability to it. And just looking at the joint design again, this one was designed to look better, but function worse, while this one goes sort of halfway. And as a result, it looks good, but also has good movement. It's not restricted in any sense. Sure, you got this little piece here, but it still allows for more than enough movement, and it's still pretty smooth. And again, it lends itself better to the mechanical nature of walkers, while this one suffers what I like to call the ATST treatment, where the feet are essentially locked due to the parts, and as a result, it is extremely hard to pose and actually make it look like it's walking. And of course, this one does take the design aspects from this one, but this one, while it looks better, it functions a lot worse. Whereas this one may be more bulky, but it lends itself better to the play features. So overall, I actually prefer this ATRT both for design and for posability. Whereas this one kind of looks really solid, but I can't pose it in any normal way to make it look like it's going into action. And we're going to compare this one to a Battle Pack ATRT from 2015 now. So here's the new ATRT compared to a ATRT Battle Pack build from the Geonosis Battle Pack back in 2015. Now, this one already shows how they could have made this design better. Because if you look right here, they use the same joint piece right here to allow the legs to move. But the best part is there's no pieces on this, so you can have it all the way in the front and give as much leg room as possible to give it a walking look. And if we look at how I've posed it now, you can really stretch out that leg to make it look like it's walking into battle. It's meant for all terrain. And on top of that, there's seats for 2 troopers, with back having stud shooters as clips for these 2 guys. On top of a mechanism here to fire this Gatling gun in the front. For a Battle Pack build that was $15 in 2015, it packs better play features and better legs than a Battle Pack that cost $45 and uses very similar pieces. It's honestly shameful, because I do like the design of this Battle Pack, and it was one of my first Battle Packs. So I have some nostalgia for this. And the best part is, with how the legs are designed, you can just leave it in this pose and it won't fall over easily. Whereas these smaller feet don't actually give it sturdiness. You need the anti-studs to allow for a bit of stable connections, but this one just slides a lot. This one is a bit harder to slide. This one just slides pretty much. So taking apart this build now, let's see if by changing the positioning of the joints, we can actually replicate what this battle pack did all the way in 2015. So after simple flipping of the joints, let's see if we can recreate this pose with these legs now. And yeah, look at that. Now it actually looks like it's walking. It's crazy to think that all they had to do was design it similarly to this. They could have flipped this piece here and then maybe leave that there, but allowed this to be up here. It's just crazy. For a $45 set, it cannot do something as simple as getting the right joints on the right places to at least simulate walking. I mean, this instantly looks better than any of the positions you can put it in when the joints are how they're supposed to be. And it's all because this battle pack implemented the right ideas with having the smaller joint here so that the longer joint can reach out further. And you can see it reflected here again. The bigger joints on the bottom, while the smaller joints up here, allowing it to stretch out further. And it looks way better like this. And it's still pretty stable. It's just baffling that a $45 battle pack build that expects you to pay full price for the figures and everything has to offer can't even get a simple walking feature right. And this clearly shows it. Like, now that I did what the 2015 battle pack design had, you can clearly see it's got a walking position now. And bringing back the 2020 ATRT, this one had 2 of those long joints, allowing for even more posability. And even though it was a bulkier design, it got that down like this 2015 battle pack. But this one lacks the more rotational stud shooter here. And yes, people might complain, well, that's not accurate. But if you're going to tout a better ATRT than this one, at least keep some of the play features intact. Because while this may be better design-wise, this one is better play-wise. And it just really sucks to see that this 2015 ATRT and this 2020 ATRT are still both better than this one by far, even though their designs are not to the par of this one. So overall, I'm extremely disappointed with the play features in this set, and it represents LEGO's gradual decline as a brand for kids. Because what kind of kid is going to want an ATRT that has barely any posability and lackluster play features when ATRTs of the past did their best to have posable legs and cool stud shooting play features? And even before then, when they didn't have stud shooters, the posability for the legs was still there. And they may have been bulkier designs, but this arrangement of ATRTs definitely shows that this battle pack is not up to LEGO's standards. And while people may be complaining about the Juggernaut, this is a clear representation that LEGO cannot do good play features at a $45 price tag anymore. And it really stings when a set that is only $10 more than this, and still overpriced, has more play features and cooler play features at a $50 price tag. And then $10 above that, they can at least do a cool F-19 Torrent play feature. It's just really sad to see that they've kind of given up on this small playset idea and are just doing the bare minimum to get by. It's insane to see. So overall, this set stinks for playability, looks great, but no kid is going to want this for $45. And LEGO needs to do better to get playsets at this price point to have the best play features possible, even for builds like this, because clearly they've done it in the past, so why can't they do it here? It's a simple translation. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Let me know your thoughts on this whole battle pack playability and at least small playset scale playability. I'd be very interested to see what your guys' takes on this are, but I'll be posting more reviews in the future, and see you guys next time.